gonna let the beast out. Caged up, held down for far too long. You ready? Be ready. Breathe in, smell the victory. Breathe out, let go of all the doubt you feel. Believe, reject defeat. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. When it's on the line, seize the moment when the moment's right. Come on, you're in this fight. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. Stand the test of time. Seize the moment when the moment's right. Come on, believe you're in this fight. Don't ever be afraid to be a legend. Hold up, are you listening? Focus in, we're looking to make history. Let's go, we know.
Like the song says, don't ever be afraid to be a legend, right? I hope you guys love that intro. Hey guys, it's Tuesday night. You guys know what that means. It's LG time. No, I'm just kidding around. It's the pregame blitz time. And the last couple of shows, it seems like we've had a few super fans couldn't join us for whatever reason, one reason or the other, but that's okay. We'll still continue to soldier on, go on with the show. We've got a kind of a treat for you tonight, because one of the topics that we're going to talk about tonight, and it was requested. Let me put it, how do I put this? I got a text this morning from one of our super fans, Cole Moore. He sends me a text. He sends it. We have this group text going with our super fans for our show tonight. And he sends a text first thing this morning. He says, listen, I want to be on the agenda tonight. Because I want to talk directly to the Lowndes fans. And I initially swallowed hard. It's like, what's he talking about? We haven't talked about this at all. And so he goes on to say, listen, I've got some experience being a Tift County guy. I've got some experience with, one of the new assistant coaches that you guys just hired, and Ashley Anders is going to be your new defensive coordinator. So, you know, Cole is a big Tift County fan, and Ashley spent several years as the head coach up there. So he wants to give his perspective. He wants to give his perspective on what he thought of Ashley Anders. I told him, I said, listen, don't tell me what you're going to say tonight, because I may just block you. It's like, I don't know if I can. So my reaction tonight is going to be right along with yours, because I have no idea what Cole is going to say. So we're going to learn together. So that's going to be an interesting topic of conversation, I'm sure, because Cole, just like me, is never at a loss of words. A couple of other things that we're going to talk about, guys, is this question that we threw out there in the teaser, this hype leading up to the show, which was, should the football state championships be moved back, or at least moved? Because the report just came out that appeared in the AJC earlier this week that basically said attendance is way, way, way down from when it was in the dome. And I'm not sure how much farther it has to drop before it gets the GHSA's attention. So should that game be moved? And if so, where? So we'll get into that. There's something brewing in the state of Florida as well as it pertains to high school football. It doesn't affect us, but what I've seen is the state of Florida, the state of California is a trendsetter, and Florida is a trendsetter as well. You know, several years ago, Florida passed a state law that basically allows any player to transfer at any time they want and still become eligible. Well, the state of Florida is not happy with that. They're still apparently having all kinds of problems with recruiting. And so their state association, they're battling out. There's some internal stakeholders that are basically verbally and mentally duking it out for this new proposal that's on the table down there. And so we'll talk about that, because eventually that kind of stuff kind of bubbles up to Georgia. So is that in our future? Who knows? So we'll talk a little bit more about that tonight. And then one of our friends to the show, a guy named Joe Maimone. You guys know him. He's called in several times. He's put this game package together, the Georgia-Florida Challenge, that will take place at the beginning of the year, that matches Lowndes and Colquitt against American Heritage and Deerfield Beach. and that's going to be August 20th. And both of those games are going to be played at Martin Stadium. I'm so excited about that. Well, Joe is going to call into the show probably around 7:45 tonight and break some news. He has launched another national venture along with yours truly, and we're going to talk about that tonight. I kind of teased this a couple of weeks ago, talking about I was entering in a partnership with a national organization, and we're launching something tonight. We kind of launched it softly over the weekend, started letting people sign up for it, but tonight we're announcing the official launch of it on this show, and we'll let you guys know more about it. But think national, not just South Georgia football or state football or whatever, but it's a national scale. So that's why I'm super excited about that. So anyway, and I had a big hand in producing that new venture. So anyway, we can't wait to talk about that and let you guys know all about it. In addition, if we get around to it, if we have enough time, we'll start talking about some of these schedules that are coming out, some of the spring games that have been announced across the state. And so let me go, with that said, let me go ahead and bring on our super fans. They're going to be joining us by audio only tonight because George, he's being a great husband. He's traveling with his wife tonight, and he still wanted to take part in tonight's show. So he's going to appear as an audio only call, and Cole Moore is as well. So that should be a different experience for us tonight as well. So let me go ahead and welcome both of these guys on the screen. George, Cole, do I have you?
Yeah.
Hey, George, do we have you? Might be having an issue with George's mic there. That'll come up here in a second, I'm sure. But Cole, listen, man, first of all, welcome back, dude. It's been a minute since you've been on the show.
Man, it feels like forever, dude.
It really,
Man.
really does, man. I'm super excited that you're back. Now, you picked a heck of a time to come back because, man, you've got some thoughts to share with us tonight.
Yeah, man, I want to break in the
hey,
talk about the Lowndes new defensive coordinator.
Before you do that, let me go ahead and talk about our sponsors, because as soon as you start saying what you're going to say, we might lose half of our viewers. So hold on, let me talk about some of these sponsors, because I got a new piece of technology that I'm rolling out tonight as well. So check this out, guys. Of course, you guys know that this show is sponsored. Our title sponsor this year is Pepsi Cola. Let me go ahead and temporarily take these guys down so I can talk about this. It's our new sponsor, Pepsi Cola. I'm super excited about this, guys, because check this out. I have added a Pepsi cam on the screen so you guys can see this better, right? So whether you're talking about Mountain Dew Energy or Rockstar or Mountain Dew Spark or whatever flavor that you guys want, Pepsi's got you covered, man. They are the bomb. So anyway, that's what I wanted to show you guys tonight, this new technology. So I'm always hawking for sponsors. This is why we add cool stuff all the time. So the latest is our Pepsi cam. Second camera sponsored by Pepsi Cola. And so we are super excited about this. Let me go ahead and bring these guys back on the screen. Cole, what'd you think about Pepsi cam, man? Wasn't that cool?
That was pretty cool, man.
It was. I really liked it. I enjoyed setting it up and playing around with it, that kind of stuff. It was kind of fun to mess with. Other sponsors, guys, that we have is A Shade of Perfection, Tim Neesmith. What a great guy. If you guys need custom shades and blinds, Tim calls into the show pretty often to give us his perspective. You guys need custom shades and blinds, reach out to Tim Neesmith. Give him a call, 251-3479. It doesn't matter if you live in Valdosta or outside of Valdosta. If you have the need for his services, he will travel to where you are, as long as it's reasonable, right? I don't think he'll travel to South Dakota, but as long as it's reasonable, I think you'll enjoy working with him. Guys, if you suffer from migraines or spine pain or low back pain, if you need a nerve conduction study, Josh Batson and Justin Haskin can help you out. They have a variety of migraine treatments to take care of your pain needs, man. So whether it's a pain in the butt, they can't help you with that, right? but they can't help you. White Oak Investment, Kyle Conger can help you with your retirement financial planning. Verizon Wireless on Perimeter Road. Give Matthew a call. If you ever need an iPhone, Android accessories, 244-5855. And of course, if you want to sponsor the show, give me a shout at G Nation Media. So let's get on with the show, guys. Cole.
Yes, sir.
You wanna lay it on us? Tell us what's on your mind, man. I'm kind of nervous about this.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit of both. I mean, I think Ashley Anders is deserving of another job, another opportunity. Look, you're Lowndes. I'm gonna go with the good first, right?
Yeah.
We'll get the bad out of the way last. I mean, you're talking about a guy that's got experience, 14 years at the college level as a defensive coordinator.
Right.
Very, very seasoned guy. He was a defensive coordinator for us for a year before John Reed left, and a lot of people don't realize that. And,
was he really?
And that might mean maybe bring a memory back to a lot of Lowndes fans when certain playoff game on the line, Lowndes goes up 28-7 at halftime, does not score anymore the rest of the ball game.
Oh my gosh.
Ashley Anders, that was probably one of the best games I've seen him call. Well, just as the plain defensive coordinator, especially in the second half. But I think you're going to get a guy that depends on what kind of coach, depends on what kind of motivation he has. Okay. I think he got complacent at Tift County. Had a good run. But if you've followed Tift County football the last several years, it hadn't necessarily been the offense that got him in trouble or the defense that got him in trouble. It was the offense. So
you're right there. The last 2 years of his tenure as a head coach at Tift County, man, they didn't even score 170 points during the whole season.
Correct. So Ashley, I think you're getting a guy with a lot of, I think he is a very smart defensive minded coach.
Let me stop you there. In what way? You know football. You're a football player. Yes. Right? So you have a little bit of credibility. Actually, a lot of credibility, because you not just play football, but you play for Tift County, and you saw Ashley Anders in action. When you say he's got a good defensive mind, what do you mean by that? That's what our fans want to know. What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, he's really changed. He really changed it around. I mean, think about how many defensive kids Ashley Anders sent to the next level, and not just the next level. I mean, KD McDaniel, linebacker, Kentucky. Andrew Johnson, linebacker, Oregon. Tyree West. I would credit Tyree West to Ashley Anders also. And there's several other guys, DeAndre Overstreet, and there's a lot of good things that come. And if you looked at his earlier tenure, we relied a lot on our defense to keep us in ball games. With offense, the quarterfinal teams are it's really hard, especially the one quarterfinal with you know what I'm talking about, LG, with the offensive firepower that I had never in my lifetime. I had never seen Tift County hit the scoreboard like that. And actually Lowndes and Tifton had probably one of the best that I've seen live in person, one of the best offensive shootouts. Michael Barrett and company, and then we had a pretty good offense then too. But I think you're getting a guy. It depends. Like I said, it all depends on what Ashley Anders. If you see a motivated Ashley Anders, you got something. But if he gets complacent, and he got complacent at Tifton, cocky.
What do you mean by that, man? That's easy to say because they were going through a really tough season. So complacency is a big word when it comes to a head coach.
Well, I agree with you on that. But when your administration says, Coach, we're going to give you another shot at this thing, but we're going to give you whatever money you want, but you got to go get us a coordinator, and he decides to go hire a basketball coach.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? Complacency to me is so many things, to the where of okay, I believe, you know what I'm saying? Just I can roll out there anything and we're going to win ball games.
Right.
And it don't work that way. Now, the ugly for Ashley is pretty out there. It's one or the other. With Tift, most of the time his front seven is one of the best around the area.
Okay.
I will say that during Ashley Anders' tenure at Tifton, even our bad years, that front seven Tifton had was really good year after year after year. The back end, look, if there's one thing, if you actually go back and look at Tift County football during Anders, we could be passed on, and we could be passed on in bunches. You may not be able to run the ball as successful, but if you have a passing game, and that's where I think if I was Lowndes, I don't know their coaching staff.
Okay.
I don't know who their secondary coach is, but you got to have a pretty good secondary coach that's sitting there, defensive back coach, to coach them up. Lowndes has the athletes. It's going to be interesting. Like out of all the coaching changes, this one actually intrigues me, LG. I'm like, oh, I wonder what could happen because let me be honest, the fans in Lowndes are a little bit more rough than the boys in
Okay,
Tift.
hold on. That earns your first timeout of the night. Had to put him in the penalty box already. What do you mean the Lowndes fans are rough?
Oh, well, LG, they like to win, and if they're not winning,
there's nothing wrong with that. Every fan base likes to win.
No, but I mean, how many state champs did Mac win at Lowndes?
He won 3.
All right, towards the end of his tenure, when he was still going to playoffs, you know, there was a lot of backlash from that community down there, LG, about firing Randy Mack.
There was some. I will concede there were some voices. I don't think it was a majority. I don't even think it was close to a majority. But there were some loud opinions.
Let me tell you something. That man would have won 3 state championships in Tifton. Nobody would have said nothing.
Would he been given the keys to the city?
Keys to the city. He could have went 0-10 the next 2 years. He's fine. He's got a job. Just leave him alone.
Listen, Randy did a great job for us. As a matter of fact, he's actually calling it quits. He's retiring officially from the school system.
Oh, really?
At the end of the year. So we wish Randy the very best in retirement. But in all fairness, he did a great job.
Yes, he did. He did.
Lowndes. He and I disagreed in some areas that kind of on the fringes of the program, but overall, I have to concede he did a great job while he's here.
Oh, right? Yeah. I mean, even Lowndes. I talked to Lowndes fans a couple of years ago, and a lot of people thought he was washed up, and then all of a sudden, I had talked to a couple of Lowndes fans said the game has changed. And Randy, then all of a sudden you see Randy, in the Lowndes Vikings up there in the state championship game against Marietta. So
to his credit, the game had changed, but he changed along with it.
Right. So this is going to be, again, this move for Ashley Anders is very intriguing. I know I have had a small conversation with him, not a big conversation since he's took the job at Lowndes. And he feels like it's a great move, and that's great. And, Ashley's he is a very, he's a competitor. And I will tell you something, any Lowndes defensive player, I will tell you straight up, he's going to expect the best out of you every day.
Well, that's good. Hey, let me ask you something from your experience. I've got a question from Franklin Webb. He's asking the question that a lot of fans want to know. Does Ashley run a 3-man front, or does he have 4 hands in the dirt?
Oh, man, he's a 4-hand in the dirt. He wants to get after your butt.
Okay. All right.
He likes to,
I like the sound of that.
Well, and I will tell you this: you're going to see some exotic things. out of Ashley at times. If you have very athletic linebackers, he's not going to be afraid to send those guys.
Yeah.
He likes the pressure. He likes to get to them. He likes to make the quarterback uncomfortable, and he's not scared. So if you have a very athletic back end, you're in good shape. But Ashley will, I'm going to tell you, I can't take nothing away from him on this, even though me and him have butted heads.
No, not you.
It's well documented that me and Coach Anders have butted heads. But I'm going to tell you, he expects the best out of his kids every practice. He don't care if you're a 3-year starter, 4-year starter. You know, he don't care. He believes in getting better every day. Well,
tell me about these exotic blitz packages or pressure. I can't remember the exact words that you used. I'm assuming blitz packages. Is that what you meant?
The exotic blitzes. So he's liable to look like he's bringing 2 guys. He may even have a safety or a defensive back come up to that line, and you don't know if he's bringing them or not. Yep. He may bring a guy, he may bring 2 guys, but then he may bring all 3 guys. You just don't know.
Gotcha.
So those are just some things about Coach Anders. I think you're getting a good coach. I think it'll be really good. I think he's better than what you had before.
Well, I got to admit, this is better than your comments tonight are better than I expected. When you sent me that text this morning, it's like when you said I got something to say about Ashley Anders, like, oh Lord, should I allow him to go on the air and say this?
Well, I'm not done yet, but I mean, the problem we had with Coach, and I'll go ahead and get to the beans and the mustard and everything else, because my wife just walked in with the baby.
Okay.
Well, Tifton had the problem with him was in the big games. Remember the big games, LG. Remember when we needed to stop the most, not the first quarter, not the second quarter, not the third quarter, but late in that fourth quarter where we needed to stop against a Lowndes or a Colquitt or Brookwood in the quarterfinals, and we couldn't get it. Them are just some of the issues that were brought to the forefront with Coach Anders. Now, it's going to be interesting to see how he handles that pressure. No offense to my brethren and my alma mater at Tift County, but that Lowndes job, even though as a DC, is a lot more pressure than it was in Tift County.
I got you.
So this intrigues me a lot. You know,
do you think Coach Anders wants to be a head coach again one day?
Oh yes, I believe that's what this move is about. Honestly,
really? Okay. How so? What do you mean?
I think he's gonna, he spent last year at Colquitt special teams, and I think he coached the linebackers or something. I just think he is eyeing this job. If he does a great job and brings that Lowndes defense back, dude, he's going to get a job.
That's true. I didn't think about that, but that's true.
I mean, you're talking about a guy that, his first head coaching job, he took Tift County to 2 quarterfinal appearances. I mean, he's a guy, maybe learns a little bit under Jamie DeBose, right? Jamie DeBose is full of knowledge, full of knowledge and all that good stuff. And I think Ashley, this move, if he does well the next couple of years, I think we could see Ashley back as a head coach somewhere.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, I think that's what the move is. I mean, now Ashley's in full control. He's the DC. He's over that defense. It's something he knows. So these are just all things that you must put under consideration. But
yeah, I'm anxious to see what he does. Some of the changes that I'm anxious to see what kind of flavor, the Ashley Anders flavor. What kind of style does he bring to the Lowndes defense? Because listen, honestly, Lowndes has always been known as a school, as long as I can remember, that has no problem getting athletes, right? And then you couple that, Cole, with some of the classes and athletes that are coming up from the 9th grade and the 10th grade. He's going to have the pick of the litter, in my opinion. So it's going to be cool to see him working with a group of athletes that he's got at Lowndes and what kind of improvements he's going to make. How long do you think he's going to take to make his mark where Lowndes is back to being known as a shutdown defense?
Well, I mean, honestly, don't y'all have a lot? I say 2 years. I say 2 years.
2 years, okay.
Well, his systems, I don't know what your former defensive coordinator ran, but his system may be a little bit different. And it might be right away. Who knows? But it intrigues me if that Lowndes.
Both of his predecessors, whether it was Byron Slack or Mark Hurt, they both ran a 3-4 multiple defense. Now, Byron Slack was, in my opinion, a little bit more aggressive with his blitz packages than Mark Hurt was, but they both ran a base 3-4 defense.
Yeah, man. I love to continue the conversation, but I'm gonna get in here with my wife and I'm gonna holler. I'll holler at y'all later.
I hear you, man. Hey, Cole, welcome back to the show. Go take care of your baby, and thanks for calling in tonight, man.
All right, man.
See you. Well, there you have it, man. I don't know what. Well, I do know what happened to George. He and his wife are actually in Valdosta tonight. And if I'd have known ahead of time, I'd have told him if I'd have thought about it, told him just call him over to my house. We'll pull up a chair in the studio and we'll just both be in here. But I didn't think about that. But I wish I had. So he's trying to conduct this call from his car while his wife Heather drives. And so I'm he didn't get a good connection. So I'm texting him now just to call in. Guys, if you guys want to call in as well, the call-in number is 229-469-1205. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the screen. The call-in line is 229-469-1205. We got a lot to talk about. Remember, it's 7:45 in about 15 to 17, 18 minutes. Joe Maimone is going to call with PrepGridiron Logistics and talk about the national venture that he and I are launching. And so that's going to be fun to talk about. And I hope you guys like it. Some of you probably won't because you're not as interested as we are in the national high school football scene, but some of you may be. So, but regardless, we're going to go ahead and announce that tonight as well. In the meantime, I'm going to remind you about our sponsors, Pepsi of Valdosta, Shade of Perfection, the Migraine and Spine Clinic of Valdosta, White Oak Investment, Verizon Wireless on Perimeter Road, and G Nation Media. We are working on acquiring other sponsors. Not quite there yet, so we can't make those announcements. But when we do, you'll be sure to know that we'll go ahead and get them on the show. I want to share something with you guys. Let me go ahead and get this on the screen. So all you know is this is just a bunch of numbers on a screen, right? But what these numbers represent, you can tell they're numbers by year. What these numbers represent is the attendance at the state championship games. First of all, in 08, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. That's when it was at Mercedes-Benz and or the Dome. Hold on one second. Hey, caller, welcome to the pregame blitz. Hold on one second. Let me finish my thought. I'll come right back to you, caller, I promise. So what you guys see on the screen are the attendance numbers for the state championship game, right? And as you can tell on the screen, and this is reported by the Atlanta Journal-Constitution on their website, right? I don't know how I missed George's call. So anyway, what you can tell is the attendance numbers are really, really good, but something happened starting in 2019. Look at these attendance numbers. This is when the game was moved. to Center Park Stadium, the old Georgia State, not old, but the Georgia State Stadium, old Turner Field, you can see these numbers are plummeting from a high of what, 40, almost 48,000 to last year you had 22,000 and some change. Hey, caller, welcome to the pregame blitz. What's on your mind?
What's happening, Larry?
George, how are you, man?
George from the swamp. Doing great. How are you?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you bearing with us and using old technology, which is just a regular cell phone, which is considered old nowadays, I suppose.
For sure. I mean, I feel like it's old technology when I'm even on my AirPods.
That's right.
Talking in talking through Bluetooth.
That's right.
But I'm in downtown Valdosta, so I'm gonna bag on Valdosta for a minute because I have no coverage, no signal. It's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
With Verizon. But happy to finally connect some way somehow.
Well, while I got you on for the next few minutes before you got to go, let me get your opinion on something. I just brought up on the screen. I know you can't see it, but I'll describe it to you. These are the attendance numbers that I've got on the screen for the state championship games over the last decade, maybe a little bit longer, since all the way back to 2012. And you see back in 2016, you had a high, George, of almost 48,000 fans show up for those series of games. And then the last several years, since the game's been moved to Center Park Stadium, that attendance, George, is plummeting. It's down to 22,631. Oh, it's almost cut in half.
Decline.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it has been cut in half.
I saw it. It's bad. Yeah, I saw the graph, and so concessions and everything are down with it. It would have to be.
Absolutely. If these numbers, I think the numbers, my personal opinion, George, I think the numbers already justify moving the game. But if they continue to slide, when do you think, what does the number have to get down to, man, for the GHSA to pull the plug and to talk about moving this game to somewhere else?
I think they're already past it. I mean, when you look at the reported figures that these schools are getting for going there and even winning it, at the 7A level, I mean, they're not very impressive at all. Most people could argue that's their household income for a month.
George, you're right. They got for the winning team, actually the two 7A teams, they got what, a check for $16,000. And
I'm not even sure it was that much. It was. That's a pretty big number. I got it on the screen right now. The 7A schools, Milton and Collins Hill, they got a check for right at $16,000. Now the single A schools, their check was less than $7,000. Okay, that's okay. So while it's not $5 to $7 or $8 grand like a median household income, it's still, I mean, really. You think of travel, all the overhead, they'd have to be in the red.
Yeah.
If you're not 7A.
All right. So in your opinion, if the numbers already are past the threshold where they need to go ahead and start having these discussions, the next question is, where do you think they should move it to?
Yeah, I've had opinions on this and they've changed over time.
Yep.
I'd like to see more data on, first of all, bring it back to where the people live.
Okay.
Bring it back home is one thought. I'd like to see the numbers on how those, what the revenues look like there.
Right.
I still love a central location though.
Yeah.
I still love, all right, the bins would be a great idea. It's closed. For the most part, weather doesn't matter, even though we had a freeze out one year recently.
Right.
So you could argue, the weather can still affect it, but at least it's indoors. The problem I have with it is you can look online and find where Arthur Blank and company, they did some taxation things with, I think, a hotel tax to generate income to basically finance the thing. And I think he said in an article, it was somewhere around the $700 million number.
I know
that he had at his disposal. So you're telling me they can't work a clause in it that says you will allow the GHSA this weekend at a fair price and I know fair is a subjective term. But you see what I'm saying? Like they should, since tax money went into building it, it should be available to the GHSA for that weekend. That's like Jerry Jones does,
right?
With out in Dallas.
Yep.
So I'd like to see that. The third idea would be Middle Georgia, where they're used to doing the wrestling and basketball and everything like that, but maybe have it somewhere like Warner Robins, where you have the MAC and you have Freedom Field, and maybe you could do a split venue and spread it out over a few days and have that. Both are artificial turf, if I remember correctly. Both have very, very adequate parking, and it's pretty centrally located. So that'd be my three, thoughts on where to do it moving forward. But clearly what we know that don't work is putting it in the old Turner.
Yeah.
Ted Turner Field.
So I'm with you, man. I think that if you cannot get it at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, it needs to be either moved to Macon. I'm sure Mercer would welcome the GHSA with open arms. Either you move it to Mercer.
About the parking there.
What's that now?
I don't know about parking and having the ability to, unless you spread it out over a 3-day. Where there's a will, there's a way. Macon probably could work.
Yeah, I would say that you would probably need to spread it over a 3 to 4 day period and put more space between the games to allow parking to get in and out.
There you go. And you could have more prime time coverage, because there's certainly an appetite for high school football.
Absolutely.
With streaming services and things like that. So if you had a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or just a Thursday, Friday, Saturday for people who go to attend church services on Wednesday,
right?
I think you still could get it in. And in a crunch, Larry, where you had maybe a weather pattern that knocked one of those days out, you could squeeze them into 2.
Absolutely.
And still maybe get it done. So I think what we're saying and what we're ultimately communicating to each other is they have to be having these conversations. We're having them, and we're just nerdy fans.
Right.
So yes, they've got to be doing something different, because the numbers are just hemorrhaging.
Yeah, they are really, really bad, man. Really, really bad. Now, what do you think about this? I'm still intrigued by this idea of if you cannot put it inside Mercedes-Benz, then some people would argue, George, that it's time to bring these games back to the home stadiums of the high school stadiums, right? So obviously you'd have it at the field of the team that has the highest seed that remains in the state championship game, right?
Yeah.
So this past year, if this were true for this past season, then Collins Hill, they faced Milton. I think that was 2 number 1. I can't remember if Milton was a number 1 seed as well. So they would have a coin flip to determine who had the home field advantage there. I'm good with that. Now, there are some in the media that would argue that the state championship game needs to be played on a neutral field and not give any type of home field advantage. To me, that is a silly argument. Because
to me, it is too.
Because you just had a series of games leading up to the state championship game where you have home field advantage throughout. Someone has a home field advantage. So are you discounting those games and saying, well, we didn't really mean it, but the state championship game needs to be played to me, that's a silly argument. I agree. These are great football teams that reach the state championship game. It doesn't matter what crowd they play in front of. As a matter of fact, there is actually a rule within the GHSA bylaws that say in the playoffs, even the visiting team has the right to half the stadium.
Yes.
So if they have the fan support, and listen, we're talking about state championship game. A lot of people show up to these games that wouldn't normally show up during the season. Can they sell? We don't know if they can sell out half the stadium or not, if they were playing at Lowndes, but at least they have the right to half the stadium to eliminate any potential home field advantage from a crowd's perspective, right?
Yep, and I can tell you just anecdotally, Pierce County this past season hosted Rabun County.
Right.
Okay, that's what, Tiger, Georgia. That is a long way away.
Right.
And I can tell you right now, that stadium was absolutely slam packed in Blackshear, Georgia. Now, Rabin traveled well, but there were a lot of people who wanted to come see Gunner Stockton.
Absolutely.
Whether it be Appling fans who I think had that night off. But the point is, if you're talking a state championship game, they're going to be there.
Can you imagine if Lowndes happened to be good enough to go to a state championship this year, and let's just say for some reason, let's just to make this argument, let's just say Lowndes gets to host the state championship game, and we're playing Buford. You don't think Buford would basically pack up the entire town and come down to Valdosta and pack out their half of Martin Stadium to watch a state championship game?
I don't have to speculate, Larry. They came down and packed out half the swamp when we played in round 2.
Absolutely, in round 2, absolutely.
And they took a switch off a local tree and spanked our hides. To boot. so yeah, they'll come down. But look, if people are welcome to, why don't we see some data?
Right.
Why don't we look at what the revenues look like? Why don't we look at like what the money back to the schools look like from 7A, 6A down? Why don't we take a look? I'm perfectly fine with that. And if the numbers don't bear it out, then okay. Absolutely. But we know right now the numbers do not bear it out.
Right. And so the only other argument that remains against moving it to the towns and play it at the home fields is because a central location means that you are more likely to broadcast the games on TV.
Yeah.
To me, that doesn't hold much water as well, because, in South Georgia, unless you're on a Mediacom, if you got satellite TV, which probably half the population have down here, you don't have access to that TV game.
Yeah.
You got to stream it on the internet anyway.
Mm-hmm. And again, there's good arguments to be made for that one too, because wrestling, basketball, I mean, there's other sports who do centrally locate to Macon.
That's
and
right.
So it appears to work, and we don't hear a lot of screaming about their inequities there.
Right.
So why don't we have that discussion? And whether it's Mercer or the two fields we talked about earlier and Warner Robins, which is right down the street.
Yeah.
Very centrally located either way.
Now I love Jerry.
Dive into the weeds.
I love Jerry Safford's suggestion. He says, "Why don't we just build a dome in South Georgia?" Now he's kidding, of course. But
no.
I would love it. I would love it.
Why don't some of these schools that got all this COVID money come together and throw in and make one?
Yeah.
My gosh, they got Brewster's Millions. Some of them, it sounds like.
They got a bunch of money. That's for sure. Every school system got a bunch of money. That's for sure.
So everybody throw in. The GHSA could say, "Hey, folks, throw in. This is going to be where we're going to do this thing."
That's right. Exactly right. So
I'm with it.
I hear you, man. So listen, man, I got to let you go because I'm expecting Joe Maimone to call in at any time now.
Sounds good.
All right, man. I appreciate you calling in, George. Maybe we can work out your connection next week.
Sounds good.
See you, man. Buddy. Have a good night. So while I'm waiting for Joe Maimone to give us a shout to talk about this national venture, what do you guys think? Should the games be played or moved to one? Here's your choices. Should it be moved? If it cannot be moved to Mercedes-Benz, which I hope, because I think the kids would really love playing at Mercedes-Benz. And honestly, I wouldn't mind going up there and hanging out for 2 to 3 games, maybe more, and make it a whole afternoon and maybe into the evening, because it's a comfortable place to watch a football game. You don't have to worry about the weather. And it's a beautiful indoor stadium. But if we can't get that, where should the game be moved to? My first choice would probably be Mercer. But if we can't work that out, I don't have a problem moving the games back to the home stadiums. I really don't. I don't see any feasible reason or any good argument to prevent that. The only one that comes close would be a neutral field, but I've already explained that. To me, that's a silly argument. Just because we just got through playing 4 games leading up to the state championship game at the higher seeded team's field. Are those games not important? Yeah, I agree. Elaine Day says, move it to the home stadiums, right? The state championships used to be played at the home stadiums, and I don't think anyone had a problem with that. The only people that had a problem with it were the GHSA folks that did away with that system. Do y'all remember back in the days when we had all the semifinal games at the Georgia Dome and the state championship game were played at the home stadiums? I remember that. Lowndes' last state championship, 2007, that was the last time the state championship was played at the home stadiums. Y'all remember who we played? North Gwinnett. And we whooped them that night in a rainstorm. George said, guys, I'm being distracted over here with this group text between these guys, Cole and George, and they're talking about Cole had to run off because he's got to take care of his family, that kind of stuff. And it's kind of funny the way they're wording it. So I got a little distracted. I'm sorry about it. I really need to turn my phone over when those guys get going, because it can be pretty funny sometimes, some of the things that we talk about. So mention the Wilbur Pelfrey. Sure, I'll mention it. Although this is not the normal Viking show, Wilbur. This is the pregame blitz, and we talk about all of Region 1 and really beyond. We're trying to reach our tentacles out into the entire state. But I'll be glad to mention this. The clay shoot. This is a Lowndes deal. The clay shoot is this coming Saturday morning, benefiting the Viking Breakfast Club. So they're having a fundraising clay shoot. So anyway, if you're interested in that, if you'd like to go out there and shoot clays, the Lowndes Touchdown Club will gladly take your money. So give them a shout. How about Franklin Webb says, how about moving the game to Statesboro and Mercer? Mercer, Franklin, I don't have a problem with because it's more centrally located. Statesboro is kind of out of the way for a lot of people in the state. Right? If you're in Lowndes or Valdosta, this area, there's no easy way to get to Statesboro. It's really not. It takes a while too. Wilbur, you're right. That 07 state championship game was the last night that we played on natural grass. I shouldn't say natural turf, natural grass. You're exactly right. Next year, they tore up the grass and put down turf, and we haven't looked back. So anyway, I don't know where in the world Joe is. Let me go ahead and, because if he doesn't call in, I'll make the announcement. Let's see. Let me go ahead and make sure he knows the number. All right. So while we're waiting for him, guys, what did you think of what Cole had to say about his opinion of Ashley Anders? I'll be honest with you. When he first told me that he wanted to talk about his perspective on Ashley Anders coming to Lowndes with no filter, he wouldn't tell me ahead of time. No filter. I kind of got nervous because I didn't know, because I knew that Cole had butted heads before when Ashley Anders was the head coach, especially in the last couple of years. Cole just wasn't very happy with the way that program was going. And you know, I can understand that. They weren't doing very well. And Cole, he's kind of outspoken, kind of like me and some of you. And he let Ashley Anders know exactly what he thought. So when he said that he wanted to talk about Ashley Anders, I swallowed hard, and I was hoping to stick to football, man. Just give us an honest perspective. And that's what he did. He stuck to football, didn't get personal or anything like that. And he had a lot, actually, as a Lowndes guy, he actually had a lot of good things to say. But I'm interested to see what kind of direction the Lowndes defense takes under the tutelage of Ashley Anders, because Coach Anders is a guy that is known to have a pretty good defensive pedigree and reputation. So Cole came on and talked about that. And then we spent a pretty good while talking about the GHSA and the state championship games. Now, guys, this other thing that is taking place in the state of Florida, I wanted to bring this to your attention. The FHSAA, the Florida High School Athletic Association, is on a major, and this is a quote from the article, is on the precipice of a major football classification shakeup. They're talking about the possibility of reclassifying. I don't have all the details yet, but it sounds pretty radical. They're on the cusp of reclassifying metro schools and suburban and / rural schools and splitting the two up. Again, I don't have the details, but could you imagine if the state of Georgia did that? If the GHSA did that, and tomorrow they decided, listen, this whole reclassification stuff is not working. Everybody's complaining about recruiting. This is exactly what's driving this debate in the state of Florida, is this issue of recruiting. They thought, since they passed the law several years ago. Here's Joe right here. Hey, caller, welcome to the PreGame Blitz. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, LG? Your buddy Joe from PrepGridiron Logistics.
Joe, listen, man, I have been teasing this announcement. Listen, I told the audience that you and I have a major announcement to make tonight for those that are really, really interested in following the national football scene. We now have an avenue for them to do that, right?
We sure do. It's never been done before, and it's going to be the best. If you're an avid, knowledgeable, loyal high school football fan, it's going to be a safe place for you to hang out a few minutes a day, a few hours a day.
All right, so I'm going to go actually pull. I've got the website up. I'm actually going to share it to my screen so people can see what we're talking about.
Great.
All right, so why don't you talk about it?
Do we have a drum roll yet? Is there somebody with a drum roll?
Listen,
we could
listen on demand. Listen to this.
Love it.
All right. What you got, man?
So PrepGridiron Logistics is proud to announce that we just went live yesterday with a new website, a consumer website for high school football aficionados all around the country called nationalhighschoolfootball.com, nationalhsfb.com.
That's right. So I've got it on the screen now. And Joe, when you said that it's never been done before, you know, there are other message boards out there, and on the screen it looks like this is a message board. What you're talking about is this offers more features that people don't get at a consumer level. If you want to consume the national football scene, this hasn't been done before. All the features that we are building into this site.
There are a lot of forums out there, but none that are high school football 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
There are some forums out there where you talk a little high school football, and then the other side of it is politics.
Right.
Then there's another one out there that it's Florida only. Then there's one that's Georgia only. Then there's one that's Texas only. This is national high school football 24/7, 365.
That's right.
And we're going to be breaking news this Friday. There's big news coming out of the state of Georgia. We're going to be breaking it before any other media outlet in America. So we're going to be breaking news on this site. We're going to be doing Q&As with some of the greatest head coaches of all time.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get some players involved. It's never been done like this before. High school football 24/7.
That's right.
And it's called nationalhighschoolfootball.com.
That's right. And so I've got it blown up on the screen. Some of our viewers, were saying they couldn't see it. So I've got it really blown up on the screen. So guys, if you want to get to the site, all you have to do is type in www.nationalhsfb.com. Just like you see in the upper left-hand corner there, in that fancy little logo that that's Joe's brainchild, right? nationalhsfb.com. To get this, all you got to do, you can view all the form as a visitor, but why don't you go ahead and register for an account so you can take part as well? Because one of the things that we like to do is, obviously, we link to podcast over here in the upper right as far as PreGame Blitz, the Viking Nation. We're going to search out other high school podcasts and put these here as well. But if you scroll down, you get a list of these upcoming games, these feature games that are really prominently featured on the national scene. And I'm going to scroll down, Joe, because two of the games that appears is the Georgia-Florida Challenge that you helped put together with your company, PrepGridiron Logistics.
Yeah, the games in that right-hand column are basically all the games that are scheduled to appear on Flow Football this next season. We start on, I believe it's August 19th, and we go through literally November.
And so for our audience that doesn't know, when you said Flow Football, well, guys, what he's talking about is every game that you see on this list is going to be streamed via the internet. It's going to be a live stream. Obviously, it's a pay site. Flow Football is a company, but it's not very expensive at all, and you get access to all these prominent national games,
right,
including
and Larry,
the Lowndes and
Larry, if you're
games.
Yes, if you're a national high school football fan, literally, if for literally $2-3 a month, you could watch hundreds of games during the season.
Correct.
Now, if you're a casual watcher where you just want to watch the games that your team's in once or twice, yeah, you could do that too. But to get the biggest bang for your buck, this site is not for the casual fan. It's for the aficionado. It's for the fanatic, the high school football fanatic who loves high school football from California, state of Washington, all the way down to Key West.
That's right. So some of the other features, guys, we have an option up here at the top called featured topics and polls. Every once in a while, we've got featured contributors and writers where if they do something that's really, really cool, we're going to post it right here. It's going to stay up there for a while. So if you want to go in and these are the hot topics that people are talking about, such as our high school championships, our high school state championships out of reach nowadays without recruiting. That was a very robust discussion. Which state has the best high school football? Joe, that's already received 119 replies. And 800
keep in mind,
views.
we went live. We went live at noon yesterday.
That's right.
So we're off to a great start.
So absolutely, man. So this is being consumed by the football public pretty well. It's been received very, very well, and we hope that the viewers that are watching tonight jump on this. Guys, this is a free site. If you love high school football and you would like to know more about what's happening on the national scene, this is the place for you. So,
hey, Larry, and we just had a Lowndes fan join a few hours ago. He's also, I see him on your show once in a while. Yeah. Dustin with the last name begins with an S, like Sam.
Statham,
Dustin Statham joined, so we're happy to have him there. We love, it's been my goal for a long time to expose how great South Georgia football is to the rest of the country. This site's going to allow us to do that.
That's right. Absolutely. Guys, so I'm going to go ahead and put this link on the screen. If you look at the bottom left hand, it's blown up now. www.nationalhsfb, as in high school football, nationalhsfb.com. I know I'm coming across as I sound like a QVC channel.
Hey, one of the first coaching interviews, I say we get Coach DeBose on.
Absolutely, man. That'd be fantastic. So let's get Coach DeBose on here, because I know his drive, his goal is to turn Lowndes into a national brand, and this can help him do that. Absolutely.
Sure will.
So anyway,
all right,
Joe, thanks so much for calling in tonight, man.
Yeah, and if anybody wants to communicate with me on the site, I go by the nickname or the screen name Garden State Baller.
Yep. And guys, I'm staff admin because I'm the administrator of the site. I know it's a very creative, kind of boring name, or not creative, boring name, but it is what it is, right? So anyway.
All right. Hey, Larry, thanks for the time. I'll see you on the site.
See you, man. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, guys, that was the announcement that we had. I think it's kind of cool that we're doing something on the national scene right here from Lowndes County, Georgia, in partnership with someone in New Jersey. That's kind of cool to me. So this is just the beginning. We've got some big plans, and you guys know that, everybody's got big plans when they first start out. But this appears to have some staying power just because of the popularity it's already garnered. I mean, like Joe said, we just turned this thing live, yesterday or the day before, something like that, around noon. And it's like all kinds of visitors to it already. And there's several dozen people that have already joined. And once again, it's a free site. So I hope that you enjoy the comments. We'll, as people generate topics, things like that, I'm sure we'll be talking about some of these topics more often on this very show. So So anyway, I hope you guys can enjoy that, and I hope to see you on the site. So guys, that's going to be it for tonight's show. We're into overtime already. I wanted to spend a little bit more time about this Florida deal, but that gives us something else to talk about next week, because next week I'm sure they would have already taken a vote by then, and maybe we can tell you, have a discussion about whether they're going in this direction or that direction, and we should know more next week. So anyway. We appreciate you guys watching tonight. This has been your weekly pregame blitz. And guys, with that said, you guys have a great night. And I know this is the pregame blitz, but I'm going to say it anyway. Go Vikings. See ya.